So for lesson 6, we're going to be looking at sales tax, tips, and markup. So this is going to be applying everything we've looked at so far regarding percents and applying them to situations that are actually going to come up in your real life. So people always ask, oh, when am I ever going to use this math stuff? Well, here you go. Couldn't be more of a perfect example of where you use stuff in math class in real life. So if we look at our vocab over there, we see we have sales tax, tip, gratuity, markup, and selling price. So let's look out for those words as we go through. So our real world link. Kayaks. Alonzo plans to buy a new kayak that costs $2,100. But when he buys the kayak, it actually costs more because he lives in a county where there is a 7% sales tax. You can find the amount of tax on an item by multiplying the price by the tax percentage. So what we're really doing there is finding the part of the whole, whereas the sale price is the whole amount and the amount of tax you have to pay is the part. So we can actually use our percent equation of part equals percent times the whole. And as they tell us here in this little note, says you can find the amount of tax on an item by multiplying the price by the tax percentage. Well, we said the part is going to be the sales tax that we pay, so our tax is going to equal our sales percentage, which is 7, but we always turn that into a decimal first, so 0.07 times our price, 2,100. So if you multiply that out, what do you get? You get $147. Which is this amount right here. And they ask us to circle that amount. So Alonzo pays $147 in taxes for his kayak. All right. So we want to use the amount of tax from that first exercise to fill in the receipt at the right. We're going to then find the total cost Alonzo will pay for this kayak. All right. So let's take a look at his receipt down here. The kayak was $2,100. In sales tax, he paid $147. Well, what's his total? Well, this looks like just a regular old addition problem. So 7, 4, 2, and 2. Looks like he paid $2,247 for his kayak. All right. So number 3 says multiply 1.07 and $2,100. How does the result compare to your answer in exercise 2? Well, let's find out. I'm going to do 1.07. I'm going to multiply that by $2,100. Let's see, what does that give me? That gives me, hey, wait a second, $2,247. Well, look at that. How does that compare? Well, it's exactly the same as what I got on that receipt down there when I calculated it in exercise 2. So number 4 says, on Alonzo's kayaking trip, hiring a guide costs $50. Alonzo wants to give the guide a 10% tip. Explain how to find the amount of the tip. Well, if the cost is my total whole amount, a tip would be part of that amount. So I want 10% of 50. So if I'm looking for 10%, that's my part, is 10%. I'll change that to my decimal, 0.10, and I'll multiply that by my whole amount of 50. So that gives me a tip of $5. So what is sales tax and how does that get you to total cost? Well, sales tax is an additional amount of money charged on items that people buy. The total cost of an item is the regular price plus the sales tax. So this is that whole deal where you go into a store and you pick up something that costs $4.99 and you bring it up to the cash register and you say, I'd like to buy this item for $4.99. And they go, okay, and they scan it and it goes boop. And then the person says, that'll be $5.29, please. And you think to yourself, well, wasn't it $4.99 like 2 seconds ago? What just happened? Well, they added the sales tax on. The cash register calculated how much sales tax was on the item. They added it to the cost, and they give you a total cost, which came out to be $5.29. All right, so let's see how that works. Let's see how that works with some examples. Drew wants to buy exercise equipment that costs $140, and the sales tax is 5.75%. What is the total cost of the equipment? So there's a couple different ways we can do it. I'm going to show you two different methods here, all right? The first method is when we add sales tax to the regular price. So we're going to find the sales tax, and we're just going to add that back to our original price. So let's find the sales tax. So we're going to let T represent the sales tax, all right? So in this case, T is our tax here. All right, the percent that we're paying is that 5.75%, but we're using an equation format, so we always want to turn that into a decimal, 0.0575, and we'll multiply that by our whole amount, which was the original sale price of $140. So if we multiply those out, we find that the amount of tax you pay is $8.05. So we've got $8.05 worth of tax. So to find the total cost, we add that $8.05 to our regular price. So our regular price was $140 plus our $8.05, and that gives us a total price of $148.05. Another way to do this would be to add the percent of tax to 100%. So think about it this way. I like this little bit that they have right here. They say, all right, instead of thinking to yourself that you're adding the cost plus the amount of tax in dollars, let's add the percentages first. So what represents the price of the exercise equipment? Well, the price of the exercise equipment is $140. Well, 100% of that is $140, so it's really like 100% plus the tax amount, which is 5.75%. So really, if we find 105.75% of our original cost, that's going to give us the total cost, because that's more than what we started with. So again, let T represent the total, or in this case, what's the part? Our percent is now 105.75. So we want to turn that into a decimal, and that becomes 1.0575. And we'll multiply that by our whole amount, our cost of the exercise equipment of $140. Well, guess what happens when we multiply those two numbers? We get $148.05. So we kind of took one step out. We actually added before we multiplied, whereas in the other way, we multiplied first, found the amount of tax, and added it to get our total cost of the exercise equipment. Tips and markups, okay? So a tip or a gratuity, those mean the exact same thing, is a small amount of money in return for a service. The total price is the regular price of the service plus the tip. So you give tips to service industry jobs like a waiter or a waitress or a cab driver, things like that, you may give a tip for. A store sells items for more than it pays for those items. The amount of increase is called the markup. The selling price is the amount the customer pays for an item. So the way a store makes money is a store buys a product from someone and then they sell it to you at the store. Well, the only way they can make money is if they sell the product to you for more than what they bought it for. So to determine how much they mark the price up, they calculate what we call the markup. Makes sense. All right. Once they've marked their item up, the selling price is what they sell it to you for, and that's how they make money. So let's look at a few examples here. First one, a customer wants to tip 15% on a restaurant bill that is $35. What will be the total bill with tip? So again, we'll go through two possible ways to do this. The first way, we're going to look to add the tip to the regular price. So we'll calculate our tip, and then we'll add it to the price. So we're going to let T represent the tip, which is our part. All right. And we're going to find the 15% of our whole, which was our bill. All right. So 15% becomes 0.15 because we always turn our percents into decimals. And then we multiply that by our bill, which is $35. So we find our tip should come out to be $5.25. So we're going to take our tip, and we're going to then add that to the total bill. So we've got $35 bill. We're going to add our $5.25, and that is going to give us a grand total of $40.25 for that bill. So another way we can do this, though, is again, let's think about adding the percentages before we ever deal with the amount of money in the bill. So 100% of the bill is all $40. We want to add a 15% tip, so really we're kind of adding 100% and 15%. So if we just find 115% of our bill, that will account for our total amount of the bill plus the tip all in one calculation. So let's do that. So again, we're going to let T represent the total bill. Our percent now, instead of being 15%, is 115%. We're going to convert that to a decimal, which becomes 1.15. And then we'll multiply that by the cost of our bill, which we said was $35. Take a guess what 1.15 times 35 is. It is $40.25. So again, we kind of took one step out, or really we just rearranged things. We put our addition step up with our percents, and then we saved it all and did one multiplication to get our answer. So let's look at a situation that's pretty legit. Like this is going to happen to you at some point in your life. So you're going to go get a haircut. It costs $20. Sales tax is 4.75%. You want to know, is $25 sufficient to cover the haircut with the tax and a 15% tip? Usually hairdressers are one of those jobs where you like to leave a tip for. So you've only got 25 bucks. Do you have enough money? Well, let's think about this. If the sales tax is $4.75%, and the tip is 15%, altogether you're looking at 19.75%. You actually need 19.75% of $20, and then altogether, is that 25 bucks? Do you have enough to cover all that? So let's find out. All right, so your part is what we're looking for. So again, let T represent the tax and the tip all together. Our percent, we said, is now up to 19.75%. We'll move that decimal point over. We're going to turn that into 0.1975, and we'll multiply that by the cost of the haircut, which is $20. All right, so let's multiply that out. See what you get. You end up with a total of $3.95. All right, so let's ask ourselves, $20 plus $3.95 gives us a total of $23.95. That's what our total cost of the haircut is going to be. Do we have enough money if we have $25 in our pocket? You bet we do. And we've even got a little bit of change left over. All right, one more. All right, so now imagine that you're the manager of a store, okay? Your store pays $56 for a GPS navigation system. All right, your store's policy is to have a 25% markup. Once you mark it up 25%, that's your selling price. So let's find the selling price of this navigation system. First thing we're going to do is find the markup. All right, we're going to let M represent the markup in this situation. So M is going to be the part. Then we're going to have our percent, which was our 25% markup we said. So we'll put that in as 0.25 as we do. And then what's the whole amount? Well, this is 25% of the $56 that we paid for it for the store. So we simply multiply those together. How much markup do we have? Well, we have a $14 markup. So in real life, what's this telling you? This is telling you that the store is going to make $14 every time they sell one of these GPS navigation systems. That's how they make money. All right. So the next thing we want to do is add the markup to the amount the store pays. So the store paid $56. They're marking it up $14. So what's the actual sticker going to say on the GPS system? It's going to say it costs $70. $70. Now, if you really want to get real about it, you got to think about what the sales tax is, and that's how much it's going to cost you as a consumer if you purchase it at the store. But we'll leave that for another problem. So that wraps up our examples. All right, you guys have your guided practice. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problems here to do for homework. Get those done, and we'll talk about them tomorrow. Thanks, guys.